Hey everyone, my name is James, and Fortnite just launched on the Nintendo Switch, and I know it's not everybody's favorite game, but for a lot of people, it's a really good game, and I wanted to talk about how well it was actually ported over to the Nintendo Switch, because I know a few people might actually even consider getting a Nintendo Switch just to be able to play their favorite game on the go. And let me tell you, this port is actually brilliant. So it's not as graphically intense as the Xbox One or PlayStation 4 edition of the game, and it doesn't look as bad as the mobile edition of the game. It's somewhere kind of in between. So everything looks good. It's just not always in focus. So sometimes, for example, you could be running through the world and everything's looking great, and then you could approach somebody else, and then some shots could get fired, and everything just kind of steps down a little bit. Everything gets a little bit more fuzzy, but that really doesn't matter, because if you can kind of understand the simple shapes of a person, you can kind of figure out what's going on. And when you're kind of in an intense moment, nobody's ever really looking at the quality of a bush, are they? They're actually just looking at, who they're shooting at. And in terms of shooting, it actually plays really, really well. So I've been playing this in handheld, I played in docked mode, and my favorite way to play, in all honesty, is probably docked mode with a Pro controller. Now, I've actually spent the majority of my time with Fortnite actually in the handheld mode, and it's a bit of a battery eater. So I charged up my Nintendo Switch to 100%, and then I played like 4, maybe 5 games, and at that point it was giving me the low battery warning, and I imagine it's actually because it's obviously a very graphically intense game for the Nintendo Switch, and it's also running a constant internet connection. So it's a bit like Splatoon, it kind of just drains through your battery, and that's probably why it is best to play it docked. But when playing docked, you do get a slight advantage because you are getting a better controller by playing with the Pro controller, but you're also getting a little bit more power, and that does increase the frame rate just a tiny bit, and it also seems like it increases the render distance just a tiny bit. But honestly, handheld or docked, it plays pretty well, and even with the snubby little Joy-Con controllers, I still find myself being able to shoot an AR in this game pretty alright. I can't really shoot a shotgun, but maybe that will come with practice. But those little snubby controllers, they're alright for just general gunfire. Now, I actually did want to test out whether you could actually play with somebody on the PC edition of the game. So I actually called up Python and I got him to jump into a game with me. And you actually can. You can play Nintendo Switch Fortnite and you can play it with somebody on the PC. Now, I don't understand why you'd actually want to, because if you do this, you're putting yourself at a huge, huge disadvantage, because playing with somebody on the PC, well, they're obviously going to be a lot better than you because their frame rate is probably higher, their internet connection is probably better. But when you're playing with just people on the Nintendo Switch, it actually does seem pretty fair. I actually find myself doing a lot better in this edition than the PC edition. And I guess that's because obviously you also have auto-aim with the controls. People don't have as good of an internet connection because they're using wireless on the Nintendo Switch. And I imagine a lot of people are playing in portable mode, so if you've got it docked, you really do have a decent advantage. But I've actually been finding myself getting in the top 10 every game. I can't say I do that on PC edition. I'm not very good, I'm not gonna lie. Fortnite's something I like to play for like a little bit of fun. I'm not really good at it, but I have been having such a blast with this edition of the game. So I really do feel like it's worth your time checking it out. It is free, of course. It's free all around the world. And the cool thing about it is you can actually play for a couple of hours on the Nintendo Switch, go back to your Xbox or PC, and you can carry on with your account. All of the accounts are linked across all 3 of the platforms. But the only problem is, if you've actually linked your account to a PlayStation 4 or a Sony thing, which, I don't know, PS4 is probably the only thing, but it actually won't let you desync that from that console, which means that if you've had it linked to a PlayStation 4, you cannot use that same account on the Nintendo Switch as we currently speak, which is unfortunate because a lot of people will probably play on the PlayStation 4, buy a lot of skins, maybe a lot of dances, and then they want to play portable, but they can't. They've lost their account. They can only play it on that console. So I do hope that's something Sony will change eventually, because at the minute, that's a bit of a joke, but that's nothing that Nintendo can fix. That's nothing that Fortnite can fix. And hopefully, it gets sorted out. But this is a great game. I really do recommend checking it out, and if you're a Nintendo Switch owner, you should definitely download it. And if you're considering a Nintendo Switch, you should go ahead and buy a Nintendo Switch anyway, because there are so many good games for that system at the minute. Like, I have a library of about 40 games, which is quite a lot. I actually don't own that many games on my PlayStation 4. I own about 10 on a PlayStation. So, yeah, it's good. Right, thanks for checking out my little mini review. I hope you enjoyed it. Whether you like Fortnite or not, it's always cool to look at a cool portable game. Alright, see you in the next one, guys. Peace.